The government classified 7 national security-related suspects on the police's wanted list as absconders. The government also announced a list of 6 wanted individuals with a bounty of $1 million on each of them. And Hong Kong celebrates Christmas Eve. Hello, Merry Christmas. You're watching TVB News. In a gazette published today, the government has classified 7 national security-related suspects currently on the police's wanted list as absconders. They include former lawmakers Ted Hui and Dennis Kwok. The 7 absconders have had their passports and professional qualifications revoked. In a separate national security-related notice, authorities offered bounties of $1 million on 6 other activists. Jackie Lin reports.
Secretary for Security Chris Tang announced today that 7 people on the police's wanted list are now listed as absconders under Hong Kong's Safeguarding National Security Ordinance, also known as Article 23. They include Ted Hui, Dennis Kwok, Elmer Yun, Kevin Yam, Anna Kwok, Francis Hui, and Joey Su. All 7 of them had their Hong Kong SAR passports revoked. The order prohibits people from providing or handling funds for them. The order also bars real estate-related activities linked to them, including renting, buying, and selling of property. Also banned are joint ventures or partnerships with them. The professional licenses of Dennis Kwok and Kevin Yam to practice as barrister and lawyer respectively have been suspended. Elmer Yun has been temporarily removed from his position as a company director. The government said former lawmaker Ted Hui has colluded with overseas politicians and lied to the court to allow him to leave Hong Kong. After investigations, the Department of Justice believes there is ample evidence that Hui benefited from national security-related crimes. They include funds received via online platforms.
We are processing with the confiscation of the crime proceeds against Hui Chi-fung, and the amount is around $800,000 that we are going to. We have already initiated the process to confiscate the case. We have put up advertisement in one Chinese and one English newspaper, and this is the first step.
In June, the government imposed restrictions on 6 absconders. The first batch includes Nathan Law and Meng Siu Tat.
These measures are very effective. These people may think that they will be given identities by overseas politicians. But when their use is exhausted, then they will lose their identity.
Tang said cutting off the activist sources of funding can discourage their overseas activities. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
The National Security Department also announced a list of 6 wanted individuals on Tuesday. A bounty of $1 million has been placed on each of them. Mimo Singai reports.
The 6 wanted people are Lau Gamen, Zhong Ho Lam, Zhong Kim Hua, Victor Ho, Joseph Tay, and Chloe Zheng. All of them have fled Hong Kong. 69-year-old Victor Ho is wanted for suspected subversion. The police said Ho had launched a so-called referendum to form an organization called the Hong Kong Parliament in July 2022. Authorities said his actions were intended to achieve self-determination and subvert the state's power. The other 5, including the artist Joseph Tay, are all suspected of incitement to secession and collusion with a foreign country or with external elements to endanger national security. Between July 2020 and June this year, Tay, who was a singer, operated an online channel, Hong Kong Station, and is suspected of publishing multiple videos inciting secession. Tay was accused of urging foreign officials to apply the Magnitsky Act to impose sanctions against national security officials. Police said the former independence group leader, Zhong Ho Lam, had been involved in hostile activities against the SAR and central government authorities, including allegedly publishing articles and attending hearings organized by foreign bodies. Between May and June this year, Zhong Kim Hua was accused of supporting Hong Kong independence on social media. He also allegedly asked foreign parties to sanction Hong Kong and central government authorities. Lau Gamen and Chloe Zheng, meanwhile, allegedly gave speeches and published videos on social media to advocate separating Hong Kong from China. Speaking to the media, Deputy Police Commissioner for National Security Andrew Gan said the 6 fugitives' bank accounts will be frozen. He reminded members of the public not to have any financial transactions with them to avoid committing offences. Mums 9, TVB News.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that it supports the Hong Kong government's move to safeguard national security. Here in Hong Kong, the Office for Safeguarding National Security also issued a statement backing the pursuit of anti-China and destabilizing elements who have fled overseas. Jackie Lin reports.
Former lawmaker Dennis Kwok was born in Canada but renounced his citizenship to become a Hong Kong lawmaker in 2012. After leaving Hong Kong politics in 2020, Kwok returned to Canada seeking to reclaim his citizenship. In 2022, he wrote on his social media page that he would start a law firm in New York to continue his legal work. After the Hong Kong government announced the suspension of his qualification to practice, Kwok's name could no longer be found on the list of the Hong Kong Bar Association. Another national security suspect on the wanted list, Kevin Yam, has been removed from the Law Society's list of lawyers. In Beijing, Mao Ning, spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, expressed support for the SAR government's move. And Hong Kong's Office for Safeguarding National Security issued a statement saying it supports the police in enforcing the law and arresting those who have fled the country to oppose China and destabilize Hong Kong. The statement noted people on the wanted list, including Ted Hui, have engaged in such anti-China activities and advocated Hong Kong independence for a long time. And these acts have seriously violated the national security law. The office said that safeguarding national sovereignty and Hong Kong's development follow the principle of one country, 2 systems. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
And of course, today is Christmas Eve, and a very early Merry Christmas to all our viewers. Many residents and tourists are out and about to celebrate the occasion. Our reporter Celine Chan is in Tai Kwun, where it's decked out for the occasion and there are special performances. So Celine, what is it like in Tai Kwun right now?
Well, thank you, Melissa. People gathered here at Tai Kwun to immerse themselves in the festive joy, with a lot of them being families. Kids dressed up as deers and elves to spend the Christmas Eve, while other revelers gathered in front of the 12-meter-tall Christmas tree to take pictures. In order to make traveling easier for Hong Kongers joining festive celebrations, trains on 8 railway lines will run more frequently today, and overnight services will be provided, except for the Airport Express, Disneyland Research Line, and the section between Shangshui, Lo Wu, and Lok Ma Chau on the East Rail Line. So additionally, service hours for checkpoints to the mainland will not be extended tomorrow night, while only Huanggang Port and the Hong Kong port of the Hong Kong Zhuhai-Macau Bridge will be open for 24 hours. Well, and earlier today, many residents and tourists visited the West Kowloon Christmas Market to celebrate the festival. Well, Namosangai reports.
This was Christmas Eve afternoon in the West Kowloon Cultural District. Some people were dressed in Christmas jumpers. Others wore festive headbands. Even dogs had their costumes. What did people think of the festive atmosphere?
I think that the overall Christmas atmosphere is very nice. It's something that it's obviously more possible to let it grow more. And it's all about, I think, of find some ways to attract more Hong Kongese and also Chinese people to come here in Hong Kong.
I think it's very good. It's far exceeded my expectations. It is excellent.
At the market, visitors can find different Christmas-themed food and drinks, including gingerbread cookies and mulled wine. While the market opened at the end of November, some store operators said they have welcomed more customers today. This store, which sells hot chocolate and waffles, said fewer locals dropped by.
Like Hong Kong people, they really like travel overseas. Maybe local people are like less than the usual days.
The opening hours of the Christmas market will be extended until 11 p.m. between Christmas Eve and Boxing Day. Meanwhile, members of the public will have the chance to visit the site until the 29th. Memos 9, TVB News.
With Christmas in full swing, many Hong Kongers noted the holiday season has been the busiest in years. Meanwhile, a restaurant in Tsim Sha Tsui saw an uptick in their festive business. Anip reports.
Hong Kong may not have Christmas villages, but it boasts beautiful decorations that can transport you to a cozy town in the midst of a busy city. Many people gathered to take photos of decorations that had been set up. Christmas hats were also worn in keeping with the merry atmosphere. This lady said this Christmas has been the busiest in the past few years. She said the increased number of decorations on display this year have enticed more people to go out and about and take in the festive atmosphere. This woman said Christmas trees have been put up and music playing all around malls, noting it enhances the holiday vibes. This man said the busy environment of Hong Kong has finally reappeared. With Christmas comes dinner celebrations. Because the customer turnout rate for National Day this year was low, prices at this restaurant were lowered. Exceeding expectations, all 70 spots available in this restaurant were fully booked, with an additional 20 seats needed to be added due to the large volume of customers. Ken Lau, the managing director of Palco Restaurante in Tsim Sha Tsui, said business was not good in 2023 and on National Day, so it was very unexpected when the eatery received full booking after the multiple entry endorsement was resumed by the government. He said the number of bookings were remarkable and that it was wonderful to see the food and beverage industry thriving again. Lau said although the restaurant is fully booked for Christmas, it will not raise prices for the Chinese New Year. He hopes to create a cozy and festive atmosphere for families to enjoy their meals together. Ann Ip, TVB News.
Hong Kong is set to host the Tennis Open next week for the 2025 ATP season. Michael Cheng, president of the Hong Kong China Tennis Association, said each tennis event attracts around 50,000 spectators, and they will continue to host more tournaments in Hong Kong.
We should be benchmarking against other financial hubs, New York, London, Shanghai, and they all have men's and women's events, and that's the reason why we try to benchmark and try to host all these events in Hong Kong. We're just not going to stop there. I think the whole point of creating a Hong Kong tennis season is about building a little swing in Hong Kong.
Cheng said another goal would be to groom more homegrown talent. With that, he hopes Hong Kong can position itself as a tennis capital in the Greater Bay Area before teaching the goal of becoming a global hub, drawing international players and fans alike. Washington has opened new trade investigations on Chinese-made legacy chips. The effort, which could lead to heavier tariffs or restrictions, would be left to the incoming Trump administration to conclude. Beijing has firmly opposed the investigation, pledging to take all necessary measures to defend its own rights and interests. Danny Zhou reports.
I don't think anybody's economy.
U.S. Trade Representative Catherine Tai said the probe, to be pursued under Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974, will initially focus on non-leading-edge semiconductors or legacy chips from China. Their incorporation into downstream components and end-use goods in critical industries, including defense and autos, will also be investigated. The trade agency alleged that China is targeting the chip industry for global domination through the so-called non-market practices. U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo said it was fairly alarming that two-thirds of U.S. products using chips had Chinese legacy chips. The Biden administration will begin accepting public comments for the new probe on January the 6th before the issue is handed over to the incoming Trump administration. President of the Information Technology Industry Council, which represents the U.S. tech sector, warned this may cause complex and far-reaching implications for the global economy and urged authorities to not prejudge the outcome. China questioned the probe's economic justification and said it was not consistent with WTO rules. The Ministry of Commerce said the move will disrupt and distort the global semiconductor industrial and supply chains. It will also harm the interests of U.S. businesses and consumers. Beijing also pointed to the massive subsidies that the U.S. government has provided to its own chip companies, which account for nearly 50% of the global market share. Washington has already levied 50% tariffs on Chinese semiconductors, which will take effect from January the 1st. Denny Zhou, TVB News.
U.S. President-elect Donald Trump said he may rethink the decision to ask social media app TikTok to divest or be banned from the United States. Trump said the app, popular with hundreds of millions in America, may stay for longer.
So I'm going to have to start thinking about TikTok. I think we're going to have to start thinking. Because, you know, we did go on TikTok, and we had a great response with billions of views, billions and billions of views. They brought me a chart, and it was a record, and it was so beautiful to see. And as I looked at it, I said, maybe we got to keep this sucker around a little while, you know? Who wants to?
Trump, meanwhile, has renewed calls he made during his first term for the U.S. to buy Greenland, the ice-covered semi-autonomous Danish territory. Greenland insists it's not for sale, and Trump's initial calls to purchase it in 2019 came to nothing. His latest suggestion comes after saying the U.S. could retake control of the Panama Canal and that Canadians wanted their country to become the 51st U.S. state. In the U.S., the House Ethics Committee has unveiled a 37-page report on former lawmaker Matt Gaetz, an ally of Donald Trump. The Florida Republican is accused of regularly paying women, including a 17-year-old girl, for sex, as well as buying and using illicit drugs while a member of Congress. Gaetz has denied all wrongdoing and filed a lawsuit on Monday, trying to block the report's release. Nazvi Karim has more.
Just weeks ago, Matt Gaetz was preparing to leave the Justice Department under Donald Trump. Now he is fighting for his political life. A bipartisan panel in the House Ethics Committee has documented a string of accusations against Gaetz that forced the Florida Republican to abandon his Justice Department ambitions and resign from Congress. The report includes details of sex-filled parties and vacations that Gaetz took part in while representing Florida's Western Panhandle. The findings conclude that he violated multiple state laws related to sexual misconduct while in office. It contains dozens of pages of exhibits, including text messages and financial records, travel receipts, checks, and online payments involving various people. The panel has been looking into claims against Gaetz that go back to 2021. It includes having sex with an underage 17-year-old girl, with the now woman telling the panel that she was paid $400 to meet Gaetz. Text messages, travel receipts, and other evidence point to a party lifestyle with Gaetz and others connected with younger women for drug-fueled gatherings. A Justice Department investigation into allegations ended without any criminal charges being filed against him. Gaetz has slammed the findings, saying he has never had sex with a minor. In a post on social media, Gaetz questioned why the report was released near Christmas Eve and not in a courtroom where he could present evidence and challenge witnesses. Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
And a remote U.S. town in the mountains of Washington state is reinventing itself as an alpine village, with Christmas playing a part in its regeneration. Leavenworth earlier saw its population decline, but the town is now coming back to life. Decades ago, the village of Leavenworth was a near ghost town, one of the poorest parts of the Pacific Northwest. That's when desperate business owners took a serious gamble, reinventing the community as an alpine village. Leavenworth changed its building code to require all newly built or remodeled commercial properties to take on a Bavarian style. And the town council keeps the Christmas lights on from Thanksgiving through February. More than half a century later, the result brings tourists from near and far, especially during the holidays when Leavenworth takes on the flavor of a German Christmas market. In 2023, around 3 million people visited the town. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Have a very Merry Christmas from all of us here at TVB. Good night.